Black hair care is easy. We make it hard. I don't think y'all will ever stop hearing me talk about how complicated the natural hair community has made our hair care process until all of its ideologies go away. Literally, down with the 7-hour wash day. Down with not being able to wash my hair in the morning for an event that I have to go to at night. Down with the only answer for my hair struggles being because I'm black with 7J hair. I get that we didn't know what we were doing because Cosmos didn't care about us back in the day, so we had to fend for ourselves. But now that there are Cosmos that do, it's up to us to learn from them. We learn skincare from pros, we can learn hair care from them too. Then again, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Pre-pooing does not prevent shedding. The only thing that prevents shedding is not having hair. When I was still neck deep in the community, I used to try pre-pooing to see what it would do, and make my hair easier to detangle was not one of them. But I had never heard of people pre-pooing to prevent shedding. That was something I found out a few months ago that people were doing. A topical product is not going to stop an internal process. When it's time for your hair to fall out, it will. There's nothing wrong with that. It's normal. Look how many times you've lost hair in the shower, and look how much hair you still have on your head. You're not going bald yet, baby, I promise. Your leave-in isn't moisturizing your hair. The water is. Moisture comes from water. And I'm not sure why that's a concept that gets argued so much, especially considering that it's understood to be from water in like every other discipline, but a leave-in is just a styler with no hold. I'm not sure why they call it leave-in conditioner, but whatever. If you want to moisturize your hair, you need to soak it. It also needs to be clean so there's no barriers to your hair absorbing water. Conditioner is not just for your ends. Your hair doesn't start there. I have always wanted to know who started spreading the info that conditioner isn't for the top half of your hair, because these are also the same people saying shampoo is only for the scalp. So I guess your hair doesn't get dirty and the top half of your hair doesn't need nourishment? Okay, sure. The one thing I will say about conditioner is that you don't need to rub it into your scalp like you do with shampoo, but it's most definitely for the entire length of your hair, because all of that is hair. All of it deserves to be conditioned. That's like saying you only need to put lotion on your calves, but not your thighs. Your fingers are not sufficient for detangling. As a result of us being live human beings, we shed hair every day. The purpose of detangling is to pull that shed hair out from between the hair that's still on our head so it doesn't further tangle the hair and cause problems. Going too long without a proper detangling tool causes the amount of shed hair you have to deal with on wash day to skyrocket, making your detangling take way longer than it needs to. If you already have a good detangling habit, but something happens and you can't wash your hair for like 3 weeks, then proper technique allows you to only add maybe 5 extra minutes. But if you've been finger detangling for years, it's gonna take some time. But the more you do it, the less time it takes. That also means you're gonna be pulling out a lot of shed hair the first few weeks because it's never been pulled out. And you see horror videos from naturals about losing hair, but most of that is probably just the shed hair from them only washing, and therefore detangling, every like 2 weeks. Or more infrequently. But you know how people say the more you clean, the less you have to clean? The more you detangle, the less shed hair you have to pull out each time, until eventually you get to a baseline amount. That's why it's important to build a regular habit so you know what's a normal amount, and when you're actually losing a concerning amount of hair, in which case you should go and see a dermatologist stat. Co-washing is like trying to bathe with lotion.
Use shampoo.
Co-wash came out of the idea that shampoo is too strong for the hair. Some shampoos are just genuinely formulated horrendously, but because hair is hair, the formulation isn't just bad for us, it's bad for anyone with hair. Some people's genetics just may allow them to get away with using it for longer before it becomes a problem more easily. Co-wash does not have strong enough cleansing agents, if any at all. If your hair is still greasy after you shampoo, it wasn't washed properly. I actually chase the dreaded squeaky clean feeling every so often because then I know there's absolutely nothing on my hair. That's my baseline. Then when I go in with a moisturizing shampoo afterwards, I know how my hair feels after a moisturizing shampoo versus just the hair not being cleansed properly and grease being left behind. And if you're worried about your hair's natural oils, that comes from your scalp, not your hair. And I promise you, not only does your scalp completely have it covered because it's always producing oil, unless you have an issue that needs to be addressed by a dermatologist. But that's also what moisturizing shampoos are for, hence why they're not just for the scalp. The number one secret for hair growth is existing. You know how people will say that before you know it, all this time will have gone by and you don't even realize how far you've come? Hair growth is the exact same way. Before you realize it, your hair's down here. The problem is that unrealistic expectations of how certain hair types should grow, like speed, has caused people to think that their hair isn't growing, and that's not the case. It's just not growing like this other person's hair. But that doesn't change its validity. Different people's genetics yield different growth factors like rate, density, length limit, etc. Aside from that, certain practices make retention harder, and retention is the majority of how we measure growth as non-stylists. The way to avoid that is to stop doing the practices that impede retention, like dehydrating the hair, which is the easiest way to do so. But all we can do is support retention. Our scalps have the growth thing down. We don't have to worry about it. If after we remove the retention blocks or hindrances or whatever from our routine, regrowth hasn't started, then it's time to see a dermatologist that specializes in scalp and hair issues. And if they tell you to put oil on your scalp, run. The twist out didn't grow your hair. It stretched your hair, which made it look longer. Stretching is the most... I can't even describe what kind of practice it is, but it drives me up the wall because it feeds into the idea that the only valid type of hair is long hair. It either needs to be naturally long, or you have to prove that you have hair by pulling it down so that it can be bra strap length. Like, see, I can grow hair. Phew. If your hair were meant to be down there, it would be. Like, naturally, on its own, without help or force. Your hair is up where it is, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with your shrinkage. The fact that you have consistently had hair on your head for the past however long it's been is itself a testament to your ability to grow hair. Also, why is growing hair such an important skill for Black people to have? Like, of all of the things that I need to know how to do in my lifetime, why is growing hair up here? A process that I don't even have a say in, but I must know how to do it. By the way, if you have curly hair, you want shrinkage, because shrinkage is a sign that your hair is healthy. If your curls are falling out of the curl and it's limp, that's a problem. Protective styles cannot be protective while keeping your hair in tense and manipulated states for extended periods of time. That is a recipe for mechanical damage. I prefer to call them alternative styles because that's really what they are. They're not protective, but they were created to protect our hair from the elements and help us keep our hands out of our hair. But what I suspect started happening is the girls found a way to have the long hair they desired without waiting for it. Not knowing that long hair is already possible for you, just not with the way you were doing your hair, and with maybe a more realistic idea of long for you and your hair. Because while it may help manage hand and hair syndrome, it's not necessary to protect your hair from the elements. Hair is fragile, yes, but it's not fragile to the point where wind will make it wither away. It's not scared of the sun. And although water makes it weaker, hair still loves it. I'ma go there. And I can say this because I was this. The only thing protective styles protect is you from having to do your hair and your insecurities about it. Yeah. Yeah, I said it. And I am being 100% serious when I say this. The only thing protective styles protect is you from your hair, having to do your hair, having to see your hair, having to think about your hair, and your insecurities about your hair. Because you're gonna tell me you've never said, I can't wait to get braids so I don't have to do my hair? Plus, I know for a fact that a lot of y'all don't like what you see in the mirror when you look at your natural hair, because it's often the reminder of all of the fruitless efforts you've made toward it. But when you have braids in your hair, you can pretend for a minute that this is your actual hair, and you don't have all those problems that you're used to having. And you can just focus on being pretty and carrying nothing in your purse but your phone and your lip gloss. But what y'all don't know is that y'all are supposed to still be washing and conditioning your hair weekly, even while having braids in. You may not have to style it, but you do still have to do your hair. And you can only get away with it for about 4 to 6 weeks, plus an equal amount or higher of downtime if you want to have minimal damage to the hair. Because think of what the hair is put through to put it in that state. those styles require quite a bit of tension and manipulation to be done. And then consider how long it's kept like that, because who wants to spend $1 million on something that you can only wear for like 2 seconds, right? I get it, trust me. But while hair isn't fragile enough to be destroyed by a warm summer breeze, it absolutely is fragile enough to be susceptible to loss of elasticity. Tension for extended periods of time weakens the hair. Notice how even the white folk with long hair are telling each other to lay off the excessive ponytails because they're losing hairlines from it. The same thing applies to us. Again, because hair is hair, but our hair actually goes through so much more tension for longer than theirs does that it actually applies to us even more. Now multiply that by how many times you get braided styles during the year, as well as how long you leave them in for, back to back. It's no wonder you're having the struggles you're having with your hair. Yes, of course you lost that much hair when you took your braids out. Especially if they braided your thoughts. There's a reason that excessive braiding is linked to traction and tension alopecia. And during this time that your hair is in braids, it's not getting cleansed as thoroughly as you think, but you only know that if you have a proper baseline for your hair when it's clean. We got into the habit of using these alternative styles because we were under the impression that we couldn't just have our hair out. This is what we talk about when we question why people assume our hair is fragile. The most common reason I hear given for that is, well, it makes my hair dry. Actually, your hair was dry before you got outside. And we now know that what we call dryness is actually dehydration. And the level of dehydration your hair needs to have before it starts getting that feeling that a lot of naturals are scared of can't be caused by simply existing outside. That's chronic dehydration. So if you just want a style change up or you're just trying to do it for the culture, hey, have at it. I love seeing y'all in your braided styles. But just know that you're not actually protecting anything, and overuse contributes to the same issues you use them to avoid. Somebody in my comments under another video called them overprotector styles, and honestly, I think that's what I'm gonna start calling them as well. Shampoo is not the enemy. Doesn't cause breakage. The hair was already breaking. Whether or not a shampoo causes problems depends entirely on the strength of the shampoo, the formulation, or whether you're allergic to something in it. Shampoo is a tool like any other product. You use it because you want a specific outcome. It's important to know what products yield what outcomes so you're not taken by surprise when said outcomes have been yielded. I understand the strength of a clarifying shampoo, so I'm not gonna panic when my hair is squeaky clean after using one, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to leave nothing behind but your naked hair. No oils, no greases, no creams, nothing. I also understand that because of how deeply it cleanses, I don't want to use it more than once every several weeks, because my hair isn't dirty enough to need it more often than that, especially with how much I wash it now. The only thing shampoo is supposed to do is clean buildup from your hair, unless it's a moisturizing shampoo, because that's gonna leave oils behind on your hair to nourish it. Which is the other reason why you don't need to oil your hair or your scalp. You're already doing it with your shampoo and conditioner. So if you find your hair is breaking after using shampoo, it was probably already breaking to begin with. You just didn't notice because it's been a while since the last time you washed it, meaning it's been a while since the last time you actually felt your hair. And what often happens when you do finally use a shampoo with the strength that you need is you feel your hair with that feeling that makes you panic. Congratulations, you finally got all of that buildup off your hair and you're feeling what your hair actually feels like, which is likely as a result of everything else you were doing to it. That feeling is something that needs to be addressed, not hidden away and ignored with oils, butters, and creams. Or grease. If a specific shampoo is causing major problems, like that one brand, then that's one thing. But just like how we don't demonize like all facial cleansers just because one broke our face out, don't avoid all shampoos because one was formulated improperly or used incorrectly. Spoiler alert, because of all of the misinformation from the natural hair industry, a lot of their shampoos are formulated poorly. I got way more where that came from. I'm gonna make this a series.